Good morning, Vesta. How are you? If you can hear me, please let me know. Yesterday and the day before, I've seen some demonstrators who have gone on their lives and people couldn't hear them. And I don't know if it's a Facebook thing. They do use different streaming like platforms than what I use because I'm just Facebook Live, nothing special. I just want to make sure that it's not a Facebook thing. So if you can hear me, please let me know. I don't want to be the one, you know, just you can see my lips moving, but you can't hear me. So I'll just look here in the comments and make sure. Welcome everybody. And sounds good. Okay, awesome. Awesome. Just going to, there we go. Comments are showing up now. I've got my laptop beside me, coming in loud and clear. Okay, I'll keep it down. You know, when you're by yourself, you don't know how loud you're talking. And my camera is rather close to me. And so sometimes I worry that I am really projecting my voice and I'm trying to keep it down because we are, well, the microphone is so close, but you know, sometimes you forget. You just start having fun talking with everybody who's joining in with you and you forget about those things. And I definitely don't want to be blaring in somebody's ear. So, first thing I want to just say, I'm keeping everybody who's in the path of Helene in my thoughts and prayers. Right now, it doesn't seem quite so bad, but from what news we're getting from our local channel and the weather channel, it has yet to become as big of a, you know, the catastrophe that they're predicting. So please stay safe for those of you who are in its path, whether it's Florida, the Carolinas, Georgia, wherever. If you're in the path, please stay safe and take it seriously, okay? Because we care about you and want you to be safe. So a few things that I do have a couple of talking points that I want to, some Stampin' Up! Talking points to go over. And then we'll get on with the Facebook Live. Some of this you might already know, especially if you're following other demonstrators or you're a demonstrator yourself. But right now in the Stampin' Up! World, there was a clearance rack refresh. And there's still a lot of items there with really good discounts. So check out the clearance rack. Another thing that's happening now is Card Play Online Fall Retreat. Registration is open. And you're wondering, what is Card Play Online Retreat? Well, my upline, Karen Titus, invited Holly Sutton, Batla, myself, and Julie and Barb to what's the word that I'm trying to say? Collaborate with her. And we do an online retreat every time a new catalog comes out. So what it is on October 18th and 19th, we go live every hour on the hour. Friday night it starts at 5. And Saturday morning, I believe it starts at 10. I'll have to see. But every hour on the hour, one of us goes live. We have a bundle that we all are going to feature and show you 2 cards from, which it's the Peaceful Trees and Humble Home. And then we each have selected 2 other new bundles to show you 2 cards that we've made from those. So altogether, there's 24 PDFs that you're going to get. It's 12 Facebook Lives. You have the option of purchasing the Make and Take kit, which will give you more than enough product of what we use that features that special bundle combo that we're going to show you, which is Humble Home and Peaceful Trees. If you don't want the Make and Take option, there is an option for you to just have the online access. So you'll get all the Facebook Lives, you get all the PDFs, you get the fun and the games and the camaraderie, and you use your own product. So all of our cards are easily adaptable to whatever product you have. But we want to showcase these new bundles and get you excited about the mini catalog. So I do have a Google form pinned at the top of the Chirpy page that you can fill out if you're interested in participating. And then when I get that Google form, I will invoice you according to the option that you chose. And you can sign up under any of us. We all have our own form that you will fill out, and then we'll get back with you. So if you have trouble finding that form and you're interested, please, please, please let me know. Reach out to me so that I can get it to you. That's what's going on now. In October, Stampin' Up! Has a lot going on, and it's a lot of good stuff. So the kits collections are going to be 30% off. So if you are one who loves the kits, this is not Paper Pumpkin, this is the Stampin' Up! Kits, you're going to want to check out that 30% off sale. Also, there is a join special. This is a good special. So if you're thinking about joining, hold off until October, okay? Because you're going to get to choose $155 worth of product. That's product on your wish list that you can get for $99 with free shipping. I believe there's still a past Paper Pumpkin kit that you will get. You'll get business supplies, which if you're not doing this for a business and just doing it as for your own discount, you know, maybe you'll find somebody who's a demonstrator that could use those things. But it's $155 worth of product for $99 and the free shipping. So I want you all to, if this is a hobby that you love, I want to save you some money. And joining does not mean you have to do what I do. I love teaching. This opportunity came to me in October, World Card Making Day 2020. Karen said, if anybody wants to do a live, I will set it up and see, just test it out, see if it's something you like. I liked it, I loved it, and I've been doing Facebook Lives ever since. But you don't have to. Get that discount, save yourself some money. And then, in addition to what's going on in October, demonstrators get to pre-order for the new online exclusives that happen at the beginning of November. And what's great about joining in October is you can choose those products to put in your cart to get that awesome discount. So those are the things that are happening in October. And again, what's happening now is a great clearance rack refresh, and registration for Card Play Online Retreat is happening now. So that's all I got for talking points. As I am flipping the camera around, please say good morning to each other. I just got to rearrange some things in front of my craft space here, and then we're going to get started with today's mystery quilt block. Okay, now I got to figure out my widgets. Hold on. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, if I can get this up here without everything falling over. And let's see, I need to flip. How do I flip it again? This and that. Because I want you... Okay. I'm going to have to bring this over. Oh, I remember how we do this to get that arm out of the way. I want this over here. And we're going to zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you're still going to see this shadow. Where in the... I still can't understand where this shadow is coming from. I'm thinking if I loosen this, or maybe if I just move my camera. Hold on, people. There we go. Gone. That was the easiest way to do it. And now I am going to see who's all here today. Thank you so much for being here on this Thursday morning. There's Melanie and Sharon, Sheila, Vesta, Shelly, Marilyn, Carol, Kathy, Helene, and Shirley, and Lori, Lynn, Dawn. Oh my goodness, so many. Peg, Diane, Janice, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. I will definitely go back through my comments later and answer any questions, but I'm not the best multitasker. So while I do try to look at my computer and keep up with comments and questions, they do get missed because I get into this focus mode and I am, working on my project. So what you see in front of me, I am going to be using some designer series paper from this collection called Sentimental Christmas. Every year, Stampin' Up! Will have an item that is like a give back, a fundraiser of sorts. And they're making a difference cause is the Sentimental Christmas designer series paper, and it says with each purchase of the Sentimental Christmas DSP, we'll donate $3 to organizations dedicated to the future of children around the world. And so every time, with every pack of this paper that you order, they're going to donate $3. And so just an awesome thing for Stampin' Up! To do. So I'm going to use that paper, and here are just some 6x6 pieces to kind of show you what is in that paper pack. There's 2 designs that actually would make great scrapbook pages. This is one of them. Now this is the B side of it. But not only do you have these trees, this is the bottom portion, but there's a beautiful lantern that hangs from the top of this page. So those are the A and B sides. Here's another one. You got these really cute reindeer and these pecan pie snowflakes. This is that other 12x12 that will be really great in scrapbooking, or you can cut it down easily to make card fronts. But it's a border full of candy canes and holly berries, maybe that's what it is. And then the other side are these stockings, and if you get the bundle, the stamp and the dies will cut out that stocking, or you can fussy cut. Here's another A and B side of a beautiful paper. This is very nostalgic for me. I can remember wrapping papers and Christmas decorations when I was really young, having all this look and these colors. So here's an A and B of that one. And then you've got a really cute stripe, especially reminds me of candy canes. And then some more greenery. So that is the paper that's in that 12x12 pack. So I'm going to set those aside. And we're going to get into today's project. Now, the first shout out that I want to, maybe I'll wait to give a couple shout outs because it just might give away the, what we're doing. So maybe I'm going to rethink that, okay? Let's just get into today's project. when I have my cheat sheet right here. So what are we, on Wednesdays, I make a post explaining what to prep if you're going to craft along. And our card base is 4 1/4 by 11. I'm going to bring in my trimmer because we're going to do some scoring. I'm going to put the 11-inch across the top of my trimmer. And the first score mark I'm going to make is 2 1/8. So 2 1/8. I'm going to move it over to 4 1/4. And then we're going to move it over to 5 1/2. So that is our card base. I'm going to turn it like this because actually when we go to work with the card base, my score lines are going to be on the right. So I'm just going to set that aside. And the other, we've got a 4 1/4 inch square layer. We've got a 4-inch square of designer series paper. I am working with that pecan pie and basic white snowflake pattern. We have a 4-inch square that's going to be our insert. And these pieces that are left, we're actually going to do some cutting. So take that 2-inch by 4-inch piece of designer series paper, turn it so that the 2-inch side is across the top of your cutter, and we're going to cut it in half at 1 inch. So we're going to end up with 2 strips that are 1 inch by 4 inch. Okay, so there's those 2. I'm going to put those aside for right now. Keep that together. And then my basic white pieces. I work with basic white a lot in teaching because basic white is always going to be a contrast to whatever color that you're using. It's easy to teach this way. And it keeps it simple so that once you learn the quilt block and the layout and how to piece it, then if you want to go back and recreate it and change out that color for any other color, then, you know, do so. But to teach, it's really easier for me to use basic white, and it just simplifies the process of what you're going to go look for that coordinates. So a good neutral is always easy to teach with. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I'm also going to bring down my light a little bit. Okay, so you have a 2-inch square. We are going to make 1/4 square triangles. Not half square triangles, 1/4 square triangles. 1/4 square triangles are good are when you're going to get 4 triangles out of 1 square. So, you know, it's the glass is half full, half empty kind of thing. You decide on what's easier for you to cut. When I need triangles that are big, I like to use this method. This method is too tedious. The smaller of the square that you use, you're going to want to cut half square triangles. So with this 2-inch square, I'm going to put it on point in my trimmer, and I have opposite corners in my cutting track. Now I'm going to move this up so that my bumpers here on the trimmer are helping hold that corner in place. And I'm not going to start cutting at the corner itself because I don't want to bunch up the cardstock. So I just moved my blade into the square. And then I am going to turn. Now here you have half square triangles, but we want 1/4 square triangles. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn one of these large triangles with the longest edge across the top of the trimmer. I've got the point down in my cutting track, and I'm going to cut it in half again. So now I got 2 more triangles. Bring in the last big triangle and do the same thing. So I've cut diagonally in both directions, and now I have 4 triangles out of 1 square. 4 quarter square triangles. Here I have a 1 7/16 inch square. You're thinking, Julie, where in the heck is 7/16 on a ruler? 7/16 is 1 mark behind a 1/2 inch. Okay? And so we've got 1 7/16, so it's just shy of 1 1/2. And I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to cut 4 of these triangles. I can still hold that down to make sure that I'm going point to point. Whoops. Okay, I'm going, yeah, see, going into that corner, I started to bunch it up because I forgot. You'll feel it. You'll feel that blade resisting. You go into a corner if your paper is thick enough. And so here I have my other triangles. Okay. And now with this rectangle piece, we're going to cut 4 1/8 inch strips. 1/8 on the Stampin' Up trimmer. You've got this dark color piece to your track. That next line is 1/8 of an inch. So these are going to be very thin. In fact, I think it's going to be easier if I cut from this side of my trimmer. These are like little straws. Just want the bumpers here to help hold my paper. Little tiny straws. And 1 more. Oops. I don't want a crooked straw. Okay, so I have my 4 little straws. The extra is just scrap. So now I've got the pieces that I need to make my quilt block. And I believe we can get this out of the way. And the next thing I need, I'm going to bring in a scrap of grid paper because I need the lines to help keep me straight when I'm using my ruler. We're going to do some drawing, and we're going to bring in our 4-inch square of Designer Series paper. This is actually going to be our background to our quilt block. Okay, how's everybody doing so far? Peggy, well, we're not very far into it, so you didn't really miss a lot. Oh, Patricia, you're too kind because they're not perfect. Okay, what I want to do. Now, the darker your paper, you're probably going to have to use something other than a pencil to see your lines. But what I want to stress is be careful if you're using a pen or anything like that, because some of these lines that we're going to draw, we do not want them going all the way to the edge. So I've got my 4-inch square positioned here on my grid paper, and I am going to take a ruler. I'm going to try and do this in pencil, all the cards that I made doing this, I used with a pen. And believe me, that's why I know that you need to be careful, because you can't erase the pen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this 4-inch square in half in both directions. So half of 4 is 2. So I'm going to put my ruler here on the line. I've got 2 inches to the right and 2 inches to the left. And I am going to split this. Now I can see that line. Not easily, but I can see it. And the two, splitting the paper in half in both directions like this, your line could go all the way to the outside if you wanted it, because we're gonna hide that. It's when we go to draw our diagonal lines, we don't want them going corner to corner. We gotta stop. Okay, so here you can barely see my pencil line. Now what we want to do is we're going to turn our square on point, and I want to make some diagonal lines, but I don't want it going all the way to the corner. In fact, probably between 3/4 of an inch at least is where I want to stop. So if each of these squares is 3/4 of an or a 1/4 inch, then I'm going to want to stop somewhere down in here. So I've lined up my points on the same line. And coming right down about here, and then stopping down here about the same. I'm going to draw a line. This is really terrible for me to be showing you. I should do it in pen, since I do know where I need to stop. But I also want to teach the way your PDF is going to read. So not going to go all the way to the top. I'm going to stop right about there. And I really don't know if this would be much darker if I brought in a pen. Kind of. Not really that much darker. A little bit, but not that much. But I'll go ahead and do it again. Because these lines corner to corner are going to be a guide for you. And then we have our lines across. This will all make sense. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do it. What we're doing is we're drawing a little starburst in the center of our block. Now this one can go, when you're splitting it in half, you don't have to worry about stopping, because you're going to have something covering those lines up. But can you see the starburst pattern that I've drawn? Let me bring it down here. Oops, let's bring it down even more. So I have this starburst. Probably not the best designer series paper to show you on, but it's good. It fits the theme of where I'm going, so you'll see it making sense. Okay, now we're gonna bring in those straws, and what we're gonna do is we are going to adhere them to our cards, to our designer series paper. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. See how you can see. I want an even amount of basic white cardstock on either side of my line here. That is going to center it. So when you glue it down, you're going to want to make sure that it gets centered. And you want about equal, you want it centered also, so you have about the same amount left over in both directions. Okay, I always start with a plus sign. So I am going to get out, I'm going to use my fine tip glue bottle because these are only 1/8 of an inch. Whoops, hold on, I gotta sneak this little tail, whoops, behind there. Come on, I know you've got glue in there. Okay. Sometimes it never fails. Just stick a pin down in there and help get it started. There we go. Ooh, now I got way too much. Okay. That's what my jeans are for. My jeans are my apron. So I'm going to start with my plus sign first. And again, I want to be able to see my line going right down the center of that strip, just to help keep me straight. And it's going to help our triangle points line up. So there's that one. Now these are going to overlap each other, and it is going to create a little bit of bulk. But when we quilt our block, remember that in the quilting process with an embossing folder, it helps lay down all of our layers, so that bulk is not going to be that noticeable. Okay. So we've got a plus sign going on. And now we are going to put our diagonal strips. And now I'm going to share with you what inspired me to do this card. Now when I lay my diagonals down, I'm going to try to stay in the same line as the two strips beside it. Okay, so I'm just trying to center it up. See how we're making like, it's almost like a snowflake or an asterisk? So, a week ago maybe, Leslie Peters had shared a beautiful card over in the Quilt Cards and More group. It's where we share all of our quilt cards. And she mentioned that her card was created using a die, but that the die was unbranded. So it just made me inspired to figure it out on paper. So if you remember that post, you know where we're going. So here we have our asterisk. Now we're going to bring in the 4 biggest triangles. These are the triangles that were cut from that 2-inch square. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to play first. I'm going to put them on the outside edges, and I want to center that point of my triangle in that stripe. Okay, so right now I'm just playing so that I have a visual on what this is going to look like. Now there are different ways to do this block, and I contemplated which way was going to be the easiest to teach it. This is what I settled on, but you could totally do this another way also. Maybe we'll visit that block and that method in another live. But this is what you're going to have so far. Okay. And then what we want to play with is bringing in those other triangles. Now your 90-degree angle is always going to be on the inside. Your longest side is going to be facing out towards the corners. And this point here and this point here should match up pretty close to the 2 points of the larger triangle. So when I lay this in there, okay, 90-degree angle goes on the inside. And this is why you did not want to draw your line corner to corner, because if you do it in pen, you're not going to be able to erase it. If you do it in pencil, that's fine. But what we've created here, can anybody tell me the quilt block that you see with this pattern? Does anybody, what star is this block? So I will just sit here for a few seconds and see if anybody says what it is. Oh, Darlene, thank you. That's a really, really sweet compliment. Thank you. Jill, you're supposed to be on your way to a retreat. How are you even playing along? Okay, so, Darlene, I know what you meant. It didn't type up with what you meant, but yes, the Lemoyne star. And so if you remember Leslie's card, she had a Lemoyne star, and there was a die that created that star. I just had to figure out a way to do it without a die. And again, there are different ways to do it. So now that I know my pieces play pretty well together, I'm going to get them out of the way, but leave them where I want them. And I can go ahead and, my little doohickey here doesn't want to stay put. So, put some adhesive on the back of my triangle. And I'm just going to turn my block so that I can kind of see that center, pushing it out to the outside edge. And I'm just going to keep rotating my block and use some muscle memory so that my hand is always going to the same place. And scooch him over just a little bit. And when we quilt our quilt block, usually the pattern also helps hide any ridges that you might have from layering pieces of cardstock. It'll help flatten it out and also hide some of your ridges. I am going to use the 3D eyelet embossing folder because this to me looks like a snowflake, hence the Snowflake Designer Series paper. And I just thought that the design in the eyelet embossing folder lent itself really nicely to carrying, you know, kind of the pattern all the way through. So now that I've laid them down, you can see that my points are somewhat in the center of those lines. And now I just got to put in those corners. Again, your 90-degree angle will be towards the inside. You're looking to line up your points in the corners. If it doesn't hit exactly in the center of your white strip, as long as it's not out beyond that, you're going to be fine. Remember, we've got quilting to do. And that is going to help hide our imperfections. So again, put this there. Line up my points. Okay. Turn it. We're almost done. Oops, my little doohickey here does not want to stay stuck. And I love this little doohickey that I got. Okay, so one more corner and we're going to be ready to quilt. Naturally, before you quilt, erase any pencil lines. I also wanted to keep these pieces big enough that they were easy to manage in your fingers. Many times when we're making quilt blocks, pieces can get rather tiny, and I experience this as well as others. It kind of gets hard to handle them. So this 4-inch square should be easy on your hands. So now we've got our Lemoyne star all glued down, and we are going, I'm going to give that glue just a minute to dry. I'll get out the embossing folder that I want to show you. This is the 3D eyelet, and I'm going to keep it embossed instead of debossed, but let me show you what I'm going to try to focus on. My center here, I am going to try to line up this 4-petal eyelet right in the center of my quilt block. So I'm going to find one of those that lands on the center like that, and I'm going to be right back. I'm going to run this through the cut and emboss machine. This folder is one of my favorites, especially if you want an elegant card. White especially. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. So here is my Lemoyne star. You'll notice that running it through the machine helped lay down all my layers. And the embossing really does well to hide some of the things that you might notice the recipient of your card isn't going to notice. And it helped lay down that bulky center. Okay, so Pam, you got one of the glue press guns. Oh, you know, I keep looking at that, thinking maybe that would be a really good investment. But they can be so hard to get. It seems like they sell out as soon as somebody gets them back in stock. So I'm eyeballing them though. So there is our Lemoyne star. Now let's get to, let's see, what do I want to show next? Well, let's go ahead and let's layer this on that 4 1/4 inch square. That is your layering piece. Now mine is the same color as my card base. So we're just going to layer it, frame it onto that piece, and then we're going to set it aside while we put our card base together. And this fun fold, oh my goodness, that's going to be another shout out. I have never seen it before, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be perfect for quilt blocks. just perfect. And I was so excited how it all came together. Okay, so set that beautiful quilt block aside. And let's bring in that card base. So again, it was 4 1/4 by 11. And when we scored it, our score lines were on the left, but we scored it 2 1/8, 4 1/4, and 5 1/2. And I turned my card base because I want my score lines on my right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to burnish that score line that's 5 1/2. That's half of the length of our cardstock. Okay. Now what we're going to do is this very first score line, we're going to fold back on itself. And we're going to fold this other score line back on itself. So this is a bookbinding Z-fold, and I love this fun fold. And I got to give a shout out to Deb Joy Smeek, who you can follow her at Delight of My Art on Facebook and YouTube. She does a mystery card every Wednesday. She gives you the cutting directions on Monday. But this is where I had seen this, and I was just like, just so excited. So there's our card base. Those 2 strips of Designer Series paper, let's bring those in, and let's bring in our insert minus the pin. And I'm going to glue one of these 1-inch strips to the right side of my card insert. I am casing Deb's design quite a bit, except for I'm using a large square on top of my Z-fold. Her design was different. But again, working with quilt blocks, we work in squares, so I had to just make a bigger piece. So that's our insert. And then this other strip, if this is your book binding fold, and this is the binding, we're going to glue that strip right there. Got a nice little even border all the way around it. Okay. Now I am going to tie some ribbon around my binding before I seal it shut. So I'm going to cut a piece of this shaded spruce ribbon, and I'm going to tape it. I'm just going to use Scotch tape to hold it down in the back. Okay, where's my Scotch tape? And then, let's see, I just want to make sure that that's centered. Maybe bring it over a little bit. And tape it down on this side. You don't have to add ribbon if you don't want to. If you're not using ribbon, then you can go ahead and close up your binding. But now that I've got my ribbon there, then what I can do is I'm going to go in and I am going to put my glue, and I am going to close my card. And then I'm going to open up my card, and I am going to, oh my goodness, I think I have handled this double-sided tape so much that it's not sticky anymore. let's see, flip this over, and this also should leave a nice little border on the inside. So that's the inside of the card. Now I'm going to cut another piece of this ribbon because I want to tie a bow. Well, a knot. I'm knotting. I am not doing a bow. It's a knot. And trim off my ends a little bit to make it prettier. Okay, so now I have my knot. And now what I want to do is I want to fold this Z-fold back. So fold it back. Put your adhesive on it. Take your quilt block, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it over the top, and you want equal amounts of your designer series paper showing underneath. So just move it over. That looks pretty even. And then press it down. And you have a book binding Z-fold. Is that not just the cutest thing ever? I had not seen this Z-fold done before, and I just thought, oh my gosh, quilt cards, because the book binding fun fold is a fantastic layout to make a quilt block shine and stand out and be the center of attention in your card. So this to me is just awesome. Now, here's another thing that could be done. Let's say you wanted to put it on point. Who's to say you can't make this now an easel card? Oops. Who's to say you can't make that even an easel card if you wanted to? So there's another possibility here. You know, it's just endless. When our minds get going, we just keep creating another card and another card and just changing it up just a little bit. But let's get back to what I was doing for this card here. Now, I want to put a little bling on it. I am using the Pecan Pie and Clear Ribbon Adhesive Backed Dots. That's a lot of words for these gems. But I wanted to color them green. So the great thing about our Stampin' Blends is that these alcohol-based markers will color things. And so I took my dark Pretty Peacock, and I've colored a large one, and then I wanted, excuse me, I wanted 8 small ones. So see how when you color it, it just took that clear dot and made it the color that I wanted? Love that. Love that. So what I'm going to do is, where is my putty end of my tool? Let's get some new putty. That one was looking pretty gross. Okay, so I'm going to take this big one and I'm going to put it right in the middle of my snowflake here, my star. And then these smaller ones, I'm going to put them at a point on my triangles. So I'm going to put one there. Now, this uses a lot of these gems, so maybe this wouldn't be the way you wanted to go. But I just think it really adds a little extra something to the card. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Ah! I guess I better make sure it comes off of my... Come on. putty does not want to behave. There, it's coming out. Maybe I just didn't have it. There we go. It's a Julie thing. And what I love about these dots is they're not really bulky. Yes, you can feel them, but they don't stick way up. So then there is just some some more special effects to this Lemoyne star. So this was my card for today, but let me show you the prototype that I did. And it doesn't have any ribbon. And I used the pecan pie dots instead. Nice shine. I love this card even with no ribbon on it. But adding the ribbon did step it up. And so that's your mystery quilt block for this Thursday. And I think I want to come over this way to get it more centered. Yeah. Oh, and I want to tell you, before I forget, I'm looking at my star and thinking, oh, that looks really pretty on the computer. I do have a PDF ready to go. There are 2 things that I need to attach to it. You're not going to have to wait for the weekend. If not this afternoon, the PDF will be loaded in the files over in the group, Quilt Cards and More. If you haven't joined us, please join. Please answer the 3 questions. Questions that don't get answered, I just decline. So join our group, be inspired, inspire us by sharing, but that's where you're going to find PDFs. And not only am I going to give you the dimensions for a 4-inch square, hold on, I've done the math and it's in your PDF, but I'm going to give you a 3-inch square. Where's my baby? Where's the baby? Oh, here it is. And a 2-inch square. So you'll have the cutting instructions for some smaller blocks that I already did the math for you, and you'll find everything you need. Boy, I'm just really out of whack on the computer today. Let's bring this all down here. So you'll get dimensions for a 4-inch block, a 3-inch block, and a 2-inch block. Going any smaller than a 2-inch, somebody, if you do it, kudos to you. You are a rock star. I did not want to go any smaller than a 2-inch square. So, do you by chance have a poinsettia card for Christmas? This would make a really pretty poinsettia card, Darlene. Do reds in the background, maybe a little extra leaves, but we had poinsettia paper, was it last year or the Christmas before? I don't remember. It's been 4 years. I might have done a poinsettia card. I do not remember off the top of my head. But this star would lend well as to looking like a poinsettia flower. So, what is... okay, I'll have to go back and see where this conversation was going. Anyway, that is the mystery quilt block for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what you have done. Again, there's another way I could have gone about this design. Maybe in the future we'll tackle that one. But for now, this is what it is, and I love it. I hope you love it. Have a very blessed afternoon, and please keep all the people who are in the path of this hurricane in your thoughts and prayers, okay? And until then, until January 30th, when we do the Barn Quilt Kit together, when is the 30th? Oh, I'll see you next Monday night at 8:30 while we put September's barn quilt kit together. And then I'll reveal to you what the October kit looks like. And if I've done my math right, those 2 quilt blocks will be, we'll hit 100 different quilt blocks that we've done in 4 years with this block of the month card kit. There is a Google form that explains that kit pinned at the top of my page. So that'll be awful exciting. We're coming into that 4-year, 100 different barn quilt card kits, which I'm very proud of. The 4 years have just flown by, but we've hit that milestone. And when you look back on all, if you've been with me since the beginning and you look back at all those miniature barn quilts that you have made, you should be feeling pretty awesome about yourself. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. Okay, you guys, I am done chattering. So have a good day, and I can't wait to see what your cards look like. Talk to you later. See you soon.